and welcome to Dying to Discuss, the horror movie podcast where we discuss classic horror films like must-watch horrors to cult classics and movies that are so bad they're good. And this week we are doing more of a not a cult classic, but like a modern one. So we do modern as well. That we have not seen before, but we are interested in. And this one just came out within the last, I think, like 6 months or so. And it is The Rule of Jenny Penn. Yes, I said it right this time.
Mm-hmm.
I always say it wrong.
It's okay. I do it sometimes too.
I want to be like Rule of Penn Jenny or Rule of Penny, or that's what I say, the Rule of Penny. And I'm like, what? Or Penny Rules, or like, okay. But anyway, so
Maybe,
the rule.
maybe that's one of the things.
Maybe. But so this film, yeah, it was technically a 2024 film. So I think it came out in like December or so, and it is directed and co-written by James Ashcroft and Eli Kent, and it stars John Lithgow. Lithgow, is it Lithgow or Lithgow?
Lithgow?
I never know
I've
how to
heard
pronounce it.
Lithgow.
Okay. And Jeffrey Rush, who are both phenomenal actors. Obviously, Jeffrey Rush, known for obviously a lot of things, a very veteran actor, but for many, especially in the millennials, he's known as Captain Barbosa, is what he's known as. And John Lithgow, whatever we want to say. Let's stick with one. I'm going to say Lithgow.
Lithgow.
He's been everywhere.
Third Rock from the Sun.
Third Rock from the Sun.
The Trinity Killer in Dexter.
Yep. I remember him as early as like the Twilight Zone movie, where he did the gremlin on the plane. What is that, like 20,000 feet in the air or whatever? Where he thinks
Holy
he sees
shit.
a gremlin on the plane.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you remember that? Yeah, so I remember from like
that.
childhood watching some of his movies and Harry and the Hendersons. Did you ever see that movie?
Yes.
With Bigfoot, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Classic movie, classic 80s film. That's like a cult classic type of film. I don't think it's like, oh my gosh, Harry and the Hendersons, but I think there's a lot of fans out there, honestly, that enjoyed that movie growing up. But yeah, I remember from all of those things. I'm trying to think what else he was been in. I know he's going to be playing Dumbledore.
He was in The Accountant, the first one. That Ben Affleck movie.
I don't think I've ever seen those films. I've never seen those films.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Another genre though. So
yeah.
I won't go
right.
into it.
Right. But other than Twilight Zone, I've never really seen him take on like a let's say that's the only horror type of film I've ever seen him in, but I've never seen him take on like a villainous role. Like we're going to be seeing him that we see him play in this film. So I was very excited going into this film. Because these are two great actors. But anyway, as you guys may know or may not know, if this is the first episode you're listening to, we start out with kind of a spoiler-free discussion of the film, and kind of a recommendation of whether or not to watch the film. Obviously, you can always watch the film, but we will go into then a more in-depth kind of discussion about the film, and then we'll end it off with a scale. We like to rate them on scales of scare factor and just kind of overall movie. So since this is more of a serious take film, we won't be rating it off of cheesy factor or cult factor or anything like that. Even though you could
just like the ride, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right. So, like I said, this is Rule of Jenny Penn, came out in 2024, directed by James Ashcroft and co-written by him as well, along Eli Kent. And screenplay from Owen Marshall from a short story of the same name, which I did not know was adapted from a short story. The Rule of Jenny Penn and Coming Home in the Dark is multiple projects that Ashcroft has been on. So anyway, okay. So basically the gist of this film is, this gentleman, what's his name? The Judge Stefan Mortensen. He is a judge, and I think it's supposed to take place in New Zealand, I think. That's what I'm getting off of the accents. I believe it's New Zealand. Yeah, it is New Zealand. Because it's a New Zealand care facility that he ends up in. But yeah, so he starts off, he's a judge, and he has a stroke, or let's seemingly is a stroke in the middle of a court case, and he ends up in this nursing home or this care facility, and events unfold from that. You meet this character that John Lithgow plays, and it's what, Dave Creeley, right? Dave Creeley.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and he is this character within the retirement home or whatever, the care facility, and he's very, very odd to say the least. And people seem to be very afraid of him, and events unfold into why people are very nervous around him and very afraid of him. He walks around with a doll that he calls Jenny, right? Yeah, Jenny. And he mostly talks using that doll. So he'll use his own voice, but then he goes off on this whole puppet voice type of thing.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's kind of that factor. And then it slowly goes into that. And it is I will say my thoughts. It's definitely a film that you need to watch and pay attention to. I also get more into the rating at the end of it. It's a decent film to watch, especially if you like these two actors. If anything, the acting in it is wonderful because of these two actors that have proved themselves over the years to be wonderful actors, and it is a delight to see John Lithgow as a villainous character, and I think he plays it really well.
You're gonna have
Very
to watch
creepy.
Dexter at some point.
Which one?
You're gonna have to watch Dexter.
Yeah, I guess because I'm saying that I don't know him as a villainous character, so I've never watched Dexter. So yeah, if you guys have seen Dexter and you know him as a villainous character already, then you know that he can play it. I went in not only ever seeing him in these kind of lighthearted roles, and not being a villainous character, but I knew he had the chops to play that type of stuff. So yeah, so it was overall, it was a decent film to watch. If you are a fan of horror or a fan of unsettling, well, obviously you're a fan of horror if you're here, but if you're a fan of more of those unsettling psychological horrors,
Yes.
it's a decent one to watch, right? What would your thoughts on that be?
Yes, because the whole time I'm sitting there, I am frustrated because I know I get the same way.
Right.
And
Oh, yeah.
without giving too much, I know
Sure.
I'm not supposed to spoil, but
Sure.
yeah. So I definitely I enjoyed it because it was putting me into a controlled environment.
Yeah, and it does do that well. It does do that well. We'll give it that. It does. It's one of those movies that's really, it's only set in one setting. It does not go out of it. Except for the few scenes in the beginning of the film and some scenes in the middle, but it does not really get out of there. So it does have this very closed in feel, as many films that are only a one setting do. So yeah, it works out that well. So that's just kind of the spoiler free. It's a good watch. I think it's a Shudder original. I believe it's a Shudder original. I know it's on there at least, but I'm almost positive it's a Shudder original. If you have Shudder,
I'm pretty sure, yeah, because that's where I was like, oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah. So give it a watch. But anyway, here we go into our spoiler in-depth conversation. So the film starts out in the courtroom, right? He's the judge, and off the bat, basically you can tell that he's not feeling well, right? And there's a few things here, a few symbolism here that I noticed. I noticed the fly. That's always a big trope in movies, is the fly. But there's no real paranormal aspect to this movie. Not that I could have picked up on. It's just more of not a serial killer, but it's more of just a
like a big bully. Like
A
he's the
problem,
bully in the
a problem.
school.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, so yeah, it starts on there, and then he gets there, and then he's seemingly fine when he gets to the care facility, right?
Hmm.
He's able to function, but he's clearly not wanting to be there. He's a very hard-headed individual.
Yeah.
Clearly, that type of judge is just a very stern type of person, and he does not want to be there. Um, he seems like a nightmare to deal with just in himself. If I was like a worker in that facility,
Oh yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, oh, ease it the fuck up.
he well, I mean, I think in the beginning he sits down next to that woman and she keeps saying, my family's going to be here in
Oh yeah.
a couple months or something like that, or and around Christmas time.
Yeah.
And he's like, lady, it's October or
Like
something like that.
he clearly has no empathy whatsoever, this individual, like, because like clearly there's that yeah, that woman has some type of dementia or
Hmm.
Alzheimer's or something, and he clearly has no empathy towards the people as soon as he gets in.
Because he holds himself into a higher regard
Right,
than
right.
anyone there, because he almost like like sometimes like teenagers we think we're invincible, so like
Yeah.
he's the same way. He still thinks that, oh, I can't get dementia, I'm too important,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
a
And it,
judge.
exactly. He seems like to have this like decorated life of like, I'm this judge, and almost like a toxic male thought of process of like, nothing can harm me. I'm so
Matriarchy,
strong.
or
Yeah. Patriarchy.
patriarchy. Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah.
I'm so strong and nothing. Yeah, he almost had that mentality, agreed, especially going in there and how he treats her right off the bat. Yeah. And this movie does not really, I mean, it's weird because there are times where it goes like crazy, and then there are times where it just like pulls back and you're like, okay, what's going on? Like when he
Hmm.
gets there, it's like right off the bat that guy just like ignites on fire. Like,
Right.
and
He and
what
there's
the
nothing
hell?
nothing did it. He did it to himself.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I'm like, he did it to himself, and what was the point of that? I just want to say, going into this, what the hell kind of care facility is this? Where are the cameras? Where are
Right.
where are the caretakers? Like, shit just goes wrong all the time in
And he
this
was even
place.
yelling for help for the guy. He
I
was like,
know.
someone help.
I
Uh
know. I know.
and
That part
your point, where's the fucking cameras? Like
so
the
much
entire
stuff
time I'm
happens.
like, this guy is actually bullying people, and then like old guys bullying other patients
Right.
there.
Right.
And it's just like they don't care.
I know. I
I
know.
mean, I understand in some cases, unfortunately, that is the truth in uh, care
And
facilities like
and
that.
I do have to say that this film was probably, what I picked up on it was probably a commentary on the state of facilities such as that. Um, because it doesn't even take place in the United States, but the United States has its obviously big problems with those type of facilities.
Hmm.
And I'm assuming in other places as well, if this takes place in New Zealand. Um, but yeah, clearly I feel like it's a commentary on like, hey, we're not taking care of these individuals that are at the end of their life and or nearing the end of their life or can't take care of themselves, and we treat them like crap. And I think is that what you got it from it? That's what I got from it. Like overall, that's kind of what it felt like, was a commentary on that, at least partially.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that now. It didn't really run through my mind, but I can see what you're saying, and with all the elements that were present in the whole movie,
Right,
definitely.
because it was so blatantly um where like the things that happened were so like they clearly, like someone should have been able to catch them. Like if it was like real life, like it was blatantly written out of it. You know what I mean? Or not written into it. Because obviously the people that are writing it would know that if you're at a facility, there's going to be cameras and someone's going to catch it, right?
Yeah.
But within the film, you have things happening to him. So, um, he, this guy, what's his name? Dave Creeley. He obviously has this like chokehold on all the patients,
Mm-hmm.
and he does all these things to the different patients. And when he starts doing it to Jeffrey Rush's character, um, Mortensen, they don't believe him. They don't want to hear him. They just kind of push it off like, oh, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. And he's like, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? Like, this stuff's happening. Like, he did this to me. And they're almost always siding with either him or not him. They're either siding with Creeley or they're just
Just dismissing
completely
it.
just dismissing it, right? And stuff is
Mm-hmm.
clearly happening to him, and so that's why I feel like it was a commentary on that, because it just seems like this stuff was blatantly put
Because
there.
they're assuming that it's because he's
Mm-hmm.
older, and it's probably, even though he
Right.
was in for he had a stroke, maybe it's now
Yeah.
affecting his
Yeah.
memory.
And if you've personally ever dealt with facility homes or have heard stories, that's something that's a common complaint of like, oh, they didn't care. They just, he was just another person that came through, or she was just another person that came through. Like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously there's very good people that work there, and there's obviously very good facilities that do things, but there are those complaints. And I feel like this writer or whoever's writing it, they might have had some type of experience in their life where that their either grandparents or their parents or what have you were treated like shit, and they're just putting it out into this art form here, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what I see in this movie, because yeah, just the stuff that happens, like how he creeps into their rooms and he terrorizes them. Like, how does that happen? you know and how
I
did
know.
the
Well,
stomach yeah, go
I
ahead.
I guess so. Jumping like almost towards maybe like the end.
Yeah.
Oh wait, maybe not. Maybe the middle. When he finds his that room he has, and he's by himself with the puppet Jenny,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and he was the janitor or something, or
Yeah, that's kind of
he
what it
used to work
so
there,
yeah, that's kind of towards the end. Like, that's kind of what it like you find out towards the end.
and that's why he
Obviously
has
people listening to this, I would
access.
hope, have listened to this. And this is a spoilery part, but yeah, like it's shown that he's been there pretty much, not since the beginning, but he's been there for a very, very long time. He worked there and then he just became a resident.
Mm-hmm.
And what the weird thing is to me is that he didn't it's alluded that he didn't kill anyone until that woman, right? Is that what you got? Like, he never did that before?
He never killed anyone.
Right, but then he ended up killing that. Well, he didn't kill her per se.
Not
Not
directly.
directly, yeah. But did he ever did he try to kill Jeffrey? Like, did he try to kill the judge? I can't remember
No.
now. No, okay. So he never directly killed someone, but he led them to the point where they would die. At least with that one person. And I don't know, with the fire in the beginning where the guy like dropped the cigarette on himself,
Because
right?
he spilled the alcohol.
We
Yep.
spilled the alcohol. Was that alluding to just, I think that just setting up like how neglectful the facility is? Or was that something that, like, he
It could
wasn't
have been
associated with that?
it could have been part of it, but
Yeah.
also I don't know if you remember, but the cat was like the omen for everything. The cat
Okay.
appeared, and then like
Oh
even the
yeah.
cat was looking out the window when he
Yeah.
caught
Yeah.
fire,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
the
that's
cat
true.
was in all the places when
Okay.
people died.
Which isn't
So
right, which is interesting because I've heard paranormal ghost stories like in our other podcasts of researches, that things that we've done before in other podcasts as I listen to, of the cat appearing and sitting on someone and they end up dying.
Right, and
I
that's
f-
what all the residents knew, and that's why they moved away from it whenever it sat
oh
in there
yeah, that's true.
near them.
That's true. Yeah.
And even you see Dave uh, come across someone that was struggling on the floor. They must have fell out of bed,
Yeah.
and then he saw the cat in the room, and he just closes the
Okay.
door.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's like, I'm not messing with whatever that is,
Yeah. I
and
think was
that's the only like supernatural element that I
yeah.
kind of saw from that.
Okay. Okay. And speaking of like the dying aspect, I think one of the more terrifying elements of this film was the idea that this guy, this main character, the judge, um, he had this stroke and he was slowly becoming more and more um, stuck within himself. Like it exemplified the scariness of an illness like that. You know what I mean? Like it made you feel helpless watching him, right? When he wouldn't be able to help himself do things, and this guy was terrorizing him, and he wasn't able
Hmm.
to move. Like it helped, like exemplify that idea of like a stroke that is so just like crippling of an illness that you're slowly getting towards death's door that way, right? And
Oh
I
yeah.
think that was kind of the more realistic, terrifying elements of the film that was trying to be shown to you. um and this Jenny Penn guy, or this guy who had this Jenny Penn doll, like I feel like that was just the kind of the what do I want to say, like the analogy of being stuck in something that you were helpless in, right? And I feel like that's kind of what he embodied, was that you were being terrorized and no one could help you around you no matter what was going on, and you were being terrorized by this thing, and he was
Hmm.
that person that was terrorizing, like you couldn't help it, like. And yeah, like his scenes were so unsettling. So let's talk about John Lithgow's character for a little bit. um his character is crazy. Um like he did those scenes wonderful when he would come in and like he just terrorize and mock the people, and like it was so like gross and unsettling when
Uh,
he would do the who rules Jenny Penn, and then he would turn around and make him lick his wrist like it was like the doll's
but
ass.
yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, "Oh god,"
Ugh.
like, there just seems something so gross about it. It's like, you're not licking the actual butt of
But it's
someone, but,
still
like,
like I
you're
still
like
wouldn't want to lick someone's arm.
right, right, and then that creepy doll, and, like, it was so weird. And do you think he was actually to that point where he was so out of it that the doll was something to him, or did he just use it as a terrorizing, tool because he just wanted to terrorize people? Like, did he use it to fake
Um,
people out? Like, I couldn't tell that too. Like, what did he use it to fake out the staff to make them kind of leave him alone?
I could see that because even though he was there for
Yeah,
something, we don't know
yeah,
what it was, but he seemed to be, other than Stefan or Geoffrey Rush's character,
yeah, yeah. The judge.
the
That's I
only
just been
other
calling
one
him
that
the
was
judge.
actually within reason. Or
Yeah.
even Tony Garfield was
Hmm.
the roommate of Stefan.
Yeah,
So like those three were like the only ones that kind of maintained at least what we thought was, at least they maintained their memory.
yeah,
um and so I think you are right in a way. So the staff would just leave him alone and just say, if people say he did things, he would be like, ah, you're not going to believe him because
be
everyone
like,
else
oh,
here
that's
is losing
yeah,
their
that's
minds,
yeah, that's just Creeley. That's just the way he
and
is.
I'm already
Like,
lost mine, or I've
yeah,
already lost mine.
right, pay no mind to Creeley type of thing. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That and it
Um,
was. Yeah. Go ahead.
but yeah, I think you're right for sure.
Okay. And then, obviously one of the most awful things that Creeley does. So you see him too kind of descend into more and more madness as well, Creeley. Not only the people that he is terrorizing, but he himself. So like when he gets to the point where he leads her out to the woods, that one woman who has some sort of dementia or something leads her
Hmm.
out to the woods, and then she ends up drowning, and then he almost seems like he's sad about it. I don't know. It's kind of a weird scene where he's holding her in the river, and right, if I
Because he has
recall
to get
correctly.
his, because she took his
Yeah.
card key,
Oh, that's right. That's what it
and
was. Yeah, he
and
didn't
he was
even
like,
give a shit.
ah, fuck, I gotta
Yeah,
go
he
get
didn't.
that because I
He
need
didn't
it
even.
to.
He didn't even care. Yeah, he didn't even care. That's right. He just needed to get that. But then then the worst thing that he does, obviously, other than kill. Well, he doesn't straight up
Indirectly
kill her,
killing.
indirectly kill her. But the thing that he directly does is sexually assault the one female resident.
Oh my god, that was so.
That was
I
such an
almost couldn't even
unsettling.
watch.
That was such an unsettling scene. Like that whole scene where he. Oh gosh, yeah,
I'm
that
like,
was.
what the fuck, dude? I was,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
obviously it's a movie, but like,
But no,
still, I was like,
that was brutal. That was brutal. And then was that the same scene where he dances and stuff? Or no, that was a little bit before. That was weird too.
the one where he goes into the group and starts
He
stepping
just
on everyone, so they like move away and get
well
out
that
and
that
not have a
but
good time.
yeah, well that was oh yeah, I remember that. That's true. He starts stepping on everyone. But then there's that one where he like starts doing the weird like dancing moves and stuff. Like he has like that whole like scene where he starts singing.
Oh, like when he stands in front of
Yeah.
Stephanie.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And then he took his inhalers and
Oh, that was
trained
nuts.
them.
Yo, that was a oh, that was really like obviously this guy is terrorizing you, need to do something, but that was
He went this is like
yeah,
to 100 real quick.
when I saw him do that, I was like, "Oh shit." Like that's brutal, taking his asthma stuff and like almost giving him an asthma attack
You
or
see
like
how
almost dying
neat
from it.
that Creeley or Dave's room was?
Yeah, that was interesting too, right? Like he seems like a discussing individual, but then when he gets to um yeah, you go into his room, there's like nothing in it except for the doll.
Mm-hmm.
And
And then
like
like the clothes
it's
are all nicely, neatly folded,
yeah,
and
very strange,
everything
right?
seems to be like very clean.
Yeah. Well, and I think maybe
And
that I guess that comes from the fact that he was a janitor, kind of thinking of that. Like he was a janitor of a place, so maybe that's like in him, like just to keep stuff clean. Um
well, I'm not sure if he was a janitor. I didn't look at that
no,
up,
no,
but I
yeah, but he worked there. He's part of the staff,
he was
so
part of the staff.
maybe he
Well, I'll
liked to
say
keep
that.
it clean, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was interesting. Um so yeah, what else was crazy that happened in that?
I mean, there's just a ton of just like I said, it makes me feel frustrated because I want to do something and I would do something,
Right.
but I'm not in that position either. So I couldn't really say. Like when he's when Creeley's kicking him under the table, I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, reach across the room, reach across the thing and just fucking knock that guy out. Like just right in the face.
Oh
Like
yeah, I know.
I would not take that.
One of the parts, I don't know, it just always makes me gag when I see this stuff, but when he spits on Stefan's face, that part was like
Uh,
"Ugh,"
uh,
in the bed. Remember that when he was in the
mm-hmm.
room? Ugh, gross.
Yeah, no, thank you. Keep your
Ugh.
fluids to yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's um I the unsettling feeling, like I said, frustrated, like you
Yeah,
gotta
like you're
watch it a
saying
couple times to
like you
get
were saying
notes, but
like you were saying you want to help him, right?
well, yeah, I want to help, but like I'm thinking of me putting myself in that situation,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, I'd just like reach across the table and strangle him, or something.
Right? Right? And then, obviously it ends up in that. Like I I was kind of like, where is this movie going? As I was watching it, I was like, okay, so like, where is this movie going? Because at first I thought it was going to be like him like stalking and just kind of killing the residents, And then I was like, okay, it's just him terrorizing the residents, and there's just a lot of these talking scenes within the room, um, which is fine, which is good. Like it's ends up in this unsettling thing, but I'm like, what is his play here? What is this? What is he ultimately? He just wants the control, I guess. He just likes that control, and I guess that is shown in his, the sexual assault and the stepping on people, and like he just likes that idea of control. And I didn't know whether or not Jeffrey Rush was going to kill him or not, you know,
Yeah.
because it started coming to that. I was like, oh, the asthma thing. Okay, like he wants him dead now. Is he going to try again? And well, clearly he does. Um, and I do like how it kind of like it ended up in that room there. That was interesting too. In that
Like,
kitchen, in the towel room or whatever it was.
oh yeah.
That's where they
They
end up killing him.
Yeah, because they it was wild because like Stefan's like choking him and he's like, Tony, grab his feet. So he can't even move. And so Tony grabs his feet and I'm like, oh yeah. I was like, that's crazy. Cause like, yeah, you're not gonna be able to flail enough to get
No,
out of
and
there.
they're all old too, so like it's not like they none of them can really move that well, and it's yeah,
And
um,
Tony did mention that they don't use that room too often or at all.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
like, how long is it gonna take them to find the body?
exactly.
And then they have to have an investigation. Like, it's not like a. I mean, I know he's a shitty person, but he still killed someone.
Yeah, yeah, and then they end up burning Jenny Penn in the outdoor fire pit, and I guess that just kind of symbolizes everything's done, right?
At least with him.
What do you mean?
Um. So, if you want to talk about a couple theories,
Yeah, go ahead.
or maybe like one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, well, at the end, the cat is on Stefan's lap.
Oh, okay. So
But I
you
mean, we
think,
don't know what happens after that.
yeah, that he could be dying after that or something, or
Yes. And
yeah,
then going back to that lady with dementia talking to Stefan,
yeah.
what if Stefan has had dementia this whole time and he's been there for longer than he thinks or we
Oh
think
yeah, that's true. That's true. I never even really thought of that. Like maybe he's been there for longer than
and just
realized.
having the flashbacks, because he's always having flashbacks.
Yeah, that's true. I never even really thought of that. I honestly only watched the film once, so like I didn't go back and watch it. But yeah, that makes I can see how that would work. Like, yeah, he does have those flashbacks. You're right. Hmm.
And we could have just came in on one of the flashbacks. Makes it
Yeah.
even crazier because then he's just like he has lost his marbles and he's not completely sound of mind.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I was also thinking as you're talking, I was trying to think of other things I liked about the film. I like when Tony gets up in the dining hall and does the haka, that like New Zealand
Oh, yep,
dance.
yep.
I like that where he's like, and he basically just like challenging, it's like a form of like I think probably challenging him, right? Because at
Yes.
first I was like, why is he doing this? Like I've seen this many times before. It's one of those things like if I'm on social media, like if I see those videos, I stop and watch it because it's so cool to watch. Um, but yeah, I'm assuming that's what that part was he was doing the haka to um just show it's just challenging, right?
Yeah, it's
So that
just
was
saying,
kind of a cool
hey,
scene. Yeah.
I actually didn't know what that was called until like the other day when I saw it on a game, to be
Oh,
honest.
okay, yeah. I've seen it done a few times because yeah, like I said, I'll stop and watch it. I've seen it like on clips of like rugby games or at I think what's his name played Aquaman and Game of Thrones and
Oh,
Minecraft
Jason
movie.
Momoa.
Jason Momoa, yeah, I've seen him at like movie premieres and stuff like that. And the guy who plays Boba Fett, he's from New Zealand as well. Like I've seen him do it. Um, yeah, yeah, it's a very cool part of that culture to watch. It's very cool
Very
and beautiful.
motivating.
Yeah, it's cool, beautiful, powerful. Like, yeah, it's fun to watch.
And you
But
could, and like it was hard for him to do it too. So like
yeah,
that
because he was
just
old, right?
makes it even more of a statement,
Yeah. So
which is
cool.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Um,
I think that's all I kind of have on the movie. What do you have? Anything else?
let me see.
It was definitely an interesting movie.
How about that catheter part? Ah!
Oh God, that got me too. That was the other one. I was like, what was the other one that made me like cringe? And that was the one. Oh, when he pulls the catheter.
He's like,
Oh
"Oh, this is
no.
new. Huh? Please don't
Oh
touch it.
God. Oh
Please
my
don't."
God. Oh my God. So awful. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh
But
gosh.
yeah, I think.
Oh, and then that was
Oh,
the
the
other thing.
mem. Oh, go
No, go
ahead.
ahead.
You
I was
first.
going to say that was the other thing, kind of going into Jeffrey Rush's, the judge's dissent. There's that part where he tries to die by suicide in the tub. Didn't think of that either.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yep. At
yeah.
first, I didn't think he did it on purpose. I thought he actually slipped.
No, I
But
think, and yeah, I think that's a fleeting glimpse that he has. Like, how can I, how can I end all of this? And I think dying by suicide was one of the things that it led him to, but he clearly stopped that before it overtook him.
hmm.
So, um, but it just shows more of the terrorizing of the surroundings around him and what Jenny Penn and Creeley were doing to him and all of this stuff. But yeah, so I guess that's kind of it that I have about that film that I wanted to mention.
What a funny thing. Did you try to do the memory test?
What are you talking about? I guess not
Oh
because I
God.
forget. I forget.
Ah. When he was like trying to check the cognitive is that the way to say it? Cognizance? I don't know. Whatever. He's checking the memory of Stefan's character, the
Yeah,
doctor, and
yeah.
he's holding up cards and he goes, um, shit, I forgot them all now.
Oh yeah,
But
I kind of
one of
remember
them was
that. Yeah.
zebra. One of them
Oh
was zebra.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Honesty, zebra, honesty.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Shit.
And it was tried to repeat them after that or something, right?
Yeah, and then like it was like the montage, and he was kind of like
Oh yeah.
struggling at the end.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And again, that showed more of his descent. So like a lot of the movie just yeah, was showing more of I think the judge's character's descent into this illness. And you might be right. Like he was there the whole time. Um yeah. Yeah.
And that's what's wonderful about these types of movies is
Yeah.
you can you
Think about
can
it.
think about any like it could be so many different ways,
Yeah.
and I think that's what gives them real life.
Yeah. Anyway, so agreed. So that's a good note to end off on. What would your overall scare factor rating be?
Scary for a bully I can't control, and everyone thinks I'm crazy.
Yeah.
A 10 out of 10.
Really? Really?
Yeah,
You'd put it that high as a
just
scare
because based on no
just cuz it was
control.
cuz it was so unsettling for you? Was that unsettling? More so
Hmm.
than like Hereditary, it was that unsettling? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Um, it definitely was unsettling. I'd probably give it, in the scare factor, I'd probably give it like maybe like a 7 or something like that. It was definitely unsettling for me. It was definitely unsettling film to watch, and I agree with everything that you're saying there. But it wasn't a movie for me where I came out of it, and I was like, oh God, I feel creeped out. There was parts I was disgusted by and unsettled by, and it made me think. But what would you overall think about the movie out of 10?
I'd say I give it an 8 because I would watch it again. Like I said,
Really?
I loved what you said about it that I didn't think of, and I
Hmm.
liked what I had in mind,
Yeah.
and I think that's what I like about it the most, and that's what's putting it so high up is it's
Okay.
just so many directions it could go.
Okay. See, I'd put it like maybe like a 6.5 out of maybe 7. I don't know. I just maybe I have to watch it again, but I just didn't find it to have that much rewatchability for me. Um yeah, it definitely makes you think. It's unsettling. I just feel like I was expecting more out of the movie maybe. Um
I did think it was going to be more supernatural.
and I don't even know if I was expecting to have more supernatural. I didn't was not expecting to go in and have like a slasher film either. Um I just feel like I feel like the moments with um uh Lithgow's character, why did my name I forget it is Cleary?
David yeah,
Yeah.
Dave. Hmm.
Um I just feel like his scenes weren't. I don't know. I felt like it would dragged out a little too much in the room scenes, and there wasn't much as far as like as you were watching the film. It was just kind of like, where's this going? Certain things kind of felt a little dragged out to me, and the performances were great, and that's why I give it like like almost a 7, just because it was a good watch as far as the performances were. It was unsettling, but I don't think it was like, oh my god, like this is a must watch horror for anyone, that I would put on like a scale of like an 8 to a 10 personally. um I can understand why one would enjoy it, and I did enjoy it. I just don't think I would go back and watch it. You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's definitely give it a watch. You probably enjoy it. You might not. I don't know. Um, I guess that's the fun of movies. But yeah, those are our thoughts on it. So, if you have not checked out our other two reviews. We have Hereditary and we have Troll 2. No relation to Troll 1. um, but yeah, so we had fun reviewing our first three films. And if you want more true to life type horror, allegedly true horror, we have our flagship podcast, Horror Time, that we new seasons come out around every fall, or Halloween season. So our next one will start up. I think we have it uh, planned for September 19th. I think is when that will start, and we'll have fun with that. We're doing a little different this season with we kind of started at the end there where we did the true horror, and then we did more of like fictionalized. So if you're not familiar with that, we start out every episode with a fictionalized horror that me and Pat come up with, and then we go into talking about the uh, the theme of the episode, whatever story we have chosen that's
Yep.
allegedly true, or urban legends, things of that sort. So that's a lot of fun. But yeah, this Dying to Discuss, we're going to keep this going. Hopefully, 3 movies or so a month. And whether or not we keep it going while Horror Time is going on, we kind of intend this to be more of a off season of Horror Time
Yeah, flip side.
podcast, right? Yeah, so when we don't have Horror Time, we'll have Dying to Discuss. So we will finish up the summer with Dying to Discuss, go into Horror Time, and then when Horror Time ends, we'll go back into this. So yeah, but yeah, thanks for joining us. You know, if you have any comments, leave the comments. Spotify does comments now, and if you'd be so kind to leave us a 5 star rating, if you enjoyed what you heard, and we will catch you next time.